And Janette, welcome. So excited to have you
Thank
here with
you.
us.
It's very nice to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to start off with your introduction here, and then we will jump right into it. You guys, I'm so excited to have Janette Burke here with us. She's the executive producer of Janette Burke Productions and host and creator of the 3-time award-winning TV show. She is a podcast host, a TV host. She's interviewed countless A-list celebrities, thought leaders, game changers, influencers, and experts. And she knows what it takes to really get into the spotlight, be effective at spreading your messaging. She provides media mentoring and training to help business owners be able to get more stage time, more camera time, more media, and be ready for TEDx talks. So, Janette, we're excited to have you on with us today to really help business owners leverage the media. So, welcome to the Marketing Madness Conference.
Thank you. And can I just add that in addition to being a media mentor and trainer and a host and producer, I have Janette's TV and podcast, which is now in season 10 with over 500 aired episodes and an audience of well over 5 million men and women, 30 to 55 worldwide. We are a lifestyle platform. So
Awesome.
I just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, so you definitely know your stuff. So, let's talk about this. There's so many business owners out there that are trying to get more people to see what they're doing, but they're not even really considering or thinking about or trying for media. So why do you feel like it's important for business owners to have their eye on TV?
I feel it's important, Amy, because TV, whether it's traditional, as in network TV, or whether it's online TV, because let's face it, that's huge today, thanks to Netflix and streaming. So we can't ignore that there's YouTube TV, there's Instagram TV, Facebook Lives. These are all really parts of TV, and why it's so important for you to have TV exposure as a business owner and as part of your marketing is because TV provides this incredible platform that allows you to elevate your status and connect with a large group at one time. So it's reach. And it's also been proven for statistically for marketing endeavors that while other forms of marketing, including social media marketing and, traditional marketing measures, reaching out to people, networking, what have you, they all have their place, but they cannot produce the same type of results as being on a TV or stage where you are literally elevating your status, positioning yourself as a go-to expert. You are also connecting or having the ability to connect with the audience, be they readers, listeners, viewers, podcast listeners, webcast viewers, YouTube TV viewers. And you're also able to put a personality, so attach your personality to the face that is actually behind your brand, because you're the spokesperson of your company. And you're also able to reach people when they are most attentive to listening to you. So that allows you to build your trust, and credibility factors. And that's very important because that's the humanization of business. That's the connection to the other person on the other side of the lens or the other side of the stage who is listening to you if you're in a live event, but obviously we're in COVID. So listening to you like right now on platforms like this, which are virtually presented. So I really believe that it's important. I also believe that, it's been also proven statistically through Nielsen ratings that 83% of buyers are more likely to purchase your product or service after they see you being interviewed about it. And we know that YouTube is a huge platform. It's actually owned by Google. It's the second largest SEO, search engine optimization platform. So it's actually proven that 8 out of 10 people who watch some sort of video about you or an interview, because interviews are generally taped, or either MP4, which is a video type of file, or MP3, which is an audio. So people who are watching you and I guess listening to you, 8 out of 10 of them who watch you on YouTube, and it's very important today to have a YouTube channel as part of your marketing as well, they're going to be buying from you. And that stat is much so powerful that no other form of media or marketing or advertising can get you those kind of results that quickly. So this is why I really
love YouTube, and there's so many reasons why YouTube is good, because video in general and media appearances, they're really, really, really effective for the phase of consideration. When people are like trying to decide, should I go with this one or should I go with this one? And then you're the one that they see on TV. They're like, oh, I should go with this one, right? But the thing that's great about YouTube is that it's also where people can find you for the first time, that you're getting new viewers. And so like Facebook video, for example, or IGTV video, a lot of times you're making that video for the people who are already connected with you. But YouTube and also media, like that's new audiences. And so that's a way to get in front of people who have never seen you before.
Correct. And I want to add to that, you know, these videos, these MP4s, they are highly shareable. So that means they allow you to reach new audiences. But I also want to mention that the difference between, let's say, making videos for yourself or on your own cell phone or from your computer or what have you, or being like live on an Instagram or Facebook Live, the difference between that and a media interview, even if the media interview is on an online platform, is that there's this added credibility.
Yes.
And that's really what you want to benefit to as a business owner going on these type of online or traditional shows. There's an added credibility that instantly boosts your trust and credibility factor and catapults you to a higher level, because when you're elevated like that, you're perceived as a go-to expert.
Yeah,
and
because
that
if
is
I
something
just tell
video
you,
does
like
not
if I
do.
just say I'm blah 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 blah, right? Like that gives you, that's my words. But when you're seen on someone else's platform, all of a sudden people take note. And if you feel like you've been struggling to kind of get yourself to be well known in your local area, getting media that's a level higher will make everyone that's seeing you that's in your local area view you now as like, oh, they're a national brand or they're a regional brand.
Can't buy that kind of, you know, added exposure and credibility. And exactly like what you're saying, you can get so far on your own, but if you want to go the next step and you do want to get recognized beyond your local market and you do want to become a regional, national or international brand, you're going to need that media exposure to get you there. To elevate.
So how do you help them get ready for it? Because going on TV and bombing doesn't really help your business. Like you do need to prepare for it. So what do you think they need to do to get ready?
Okay. I know there's some chat comments. I haven't even got to them yet. Please don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm going to leave some time at the end to answer some of these questions. And I can't even see right now because the lights, and I've got my studio here. I'm filming today and I can't see without my glasses at the moment. So in answer to your question, Amy, there is a necessary process to getting ready to be media worthy. And I like to call it becoming a sought after media or speaker. So a sought after media guest or speaker on world stages, as opposed to one that, you know, constantly chases down these opportunities and the doors are closed in their face. So a couple of things that need to be in place for you to be sought after, number one, you got to be prepared for this media exposure. And what does that mean? That means we have to look at certain factors like what kind of a message are you actually putting out there? And how is that message actually newsworthy? And how is it really interesting and beneficial to the audience who is going to be receiving this message? Mm-hmm. So we need to look at what are the main key points and how are you fitting into a type of story. Like, what kind of story do you have? Are you a human interest story? Are you a business story? Are you a lifestyle story? And you need to know how to frame it and spin it and pitch it to the media as that type of story. You also need to know what your niche is, because your niche is going to determine this angle for the story. Mm-hmm. And how it's going to be relevant to the appropriate newsroom or TV journalist or TV host that you're actually pitching it to. And this is where a lot of small business people kind of go wrong, right? Because they assume that everybody's interested in their story, mm-hmm. when that may not be the case, mm-hmm. or they don't do their research ahead of time to know how to pitch it or how to frame mm-hmm. it. And when it comes to actually telling the story, because you just said you do not want to waste a golden opportunity for publicity and exposure, nor do you want to have a journalist or reporter misquote you or take mm-hmm. you out of context or put you on the spot and you don't know how to answer it. So now 100,000 people potentially are seeing you so nervous and so out of control of this interview that you instantly blow your credibility, and along with it, this incredible opportunity, this golden opportunity to be on that particular media outlet. Mm-hmm. So the main thing is to learn what type of story you have and how to tell it, and the niche around it, and what makes it captivating and interesting and newsworthy. Like, does it have a did you know kind of spin, or does it have something like I used to have one from publicist to TV show host, which is a transitional piece. Mm-hmm. How do we frame that? And that's a lot of what I'm doing with my clients, is getting that down. Then the next piece is you've got to be able to answer questions succinctly in a specific time frame, because you're going to be allotted a certain amount of time. And you're going to have to do this interview in that time. And in some cases, you're not going to be the center of the interview. You're going to be put into the interview because newsrooms and TV show hosts and producers, they have a mandate. And when they want to tell a certain story, they got to do it quickly, and they got to get the research down quickly. And it may be that you're just going to be a little fragment of that story. It's still great publicity for you, but you got to know how to answer and talk in what we like to call in the industry sound bites. That you got to get your points out totally succinctly and totally concisely, and you've always got to be communicating what is the benefit to the end user for your service or your product or your message, right? Or whatever your cause is. If you can't do that, then you're not going to be the one they're going to select, and B, you are going to waste those opportunities. So these are really important factors that lend themselves to how do you get that message across. But that's only half the battle, because there's this other part, which is your nonverbal communication, which includes your eye contact, your facial expressions, your body language, how you sit, how you present yourself, your image, your hair, your makeup. That all has to be congruent with what's coming out of your mouth, the words, okay? Because only 7% of what we communicate as humans is spoken words. The rest of it is all nonverbal communication. Here's what's going on. The minute you are on some stage or camera, people are taking notice of you. And that means they're also making judgments about you, and they're getting feelings about you. The whole idea is they want to be able to resonate with you and connect with you on the other side of the stage or the lens. How can they do that when their first taste or impression of you is all nonverbal? That has to, your nonverbal parts have to be equally on par, if not more on par than that message that's falling out of your mouth. Because again, people are deciding right away what they think of you, how they perceive you. And if it's not congruent, like what are you putting out there about yourself? Often we're very naive about what we're actually putting out there. And we need to go and sort of see ourselves on camera or talk to people like our friends or our business associates or even our staff about, hey, I think I'm putting this out. Am I really putting that out? Because let me illustrate. If you are, let's say, a company that's all about environmental, and remember, you're the spokesperson for your brand, and you're showing up in a gas guzzling car and doing everything that's contra to what an environmental movement should be about, already you're like blowing your credibility, right? And I often tell my clients that you have to show up as you want to be seen in your business. So it would be similar to like if you were going to a networking event and you want to be the leader, you want to be the, you know, the go-to person in your industry, the one that charges the most, and you're going to a networking event and you're handing out a shabby business card with perforated edges, that's a disconnect. That's the same thing that's going to happen if you show up on camera not dressed for the part, not walking your talk, not having the right hair and makeup, not having the right body language, voice techniques, all these things. Even in some cases when we're doing promo video, because we also do promo video, when we have you on the show, there's a whole package around that. We call it the brand showcase package. And we get you ready to be camera and stage desirable. And then we want to give you a crack at it. Like I want you to be able to utilize all these new skills that I've given you. So the crack starts with my show, me positioning you to be on my show so that you can actually, you know, have a demo reel created for you and you can showcase all these new skills I've given you and also experience what it is like to be in a real media setting. Because let me tell you, lights, cameras, all these things, very different than Zoom, although a lot of us are having to film on Zoom today due to the pandemic. But when you're going to be on a media tour, you're going to be having a mix of different types of media interviews, from, you know, print side of things to radio to podcast to webcast to TV, and they're not all going to be done online. Some of them are going to be done in a studio. When you get in that studio, if you are not prepared and you do not have an experience of what it's like to have cameras and lights and everything in your face, can be very daunting. You can feel like a deer in a headlight. And again, that's going to, you know, waste a golden opportunity, which I don't want for you. I want you to shine. Right? So these things are very important. Now, the last piece I wanted to mention also is all about having a media strategy in place, okay? Because like anything else, if it's a marketing measure, it's got to have a strategy behind it in order to be effective. And again, this is where a lot of small business owners, coaches, consultants, speakers miss the mark. So the strategy, they don't have a strategy. They just take whatever opportunity comes their way. And they don't look to see if the speaking gig or the media gig is actually the right gig for them. AKA, does the audience match your target market? Let me say that again. Does the audience match your target market? Because if it doesn't, your message is falling on deaf ears and there will be very little ROI, return on investment results. So you don't want your ego taking over and thinking, hey, every opportunity for media exposure or to speak on a stage is a great one. No, it's not. You need to do your homework. You need to see what kind of a show or publication or podcast is this? Who do they represent? Who is in their audience? Get their decks and find out. Then also find out what kind of host or what the host is all about, what kind of questions they do, what kind of guests have they had, what kind of guests do they feature, what kind of topics, and make sure that you fit that. And similarly, if you're going to a speaking gig, look at the speaking gig. What kind of event is it? Who do they attract? What kind of speakers do they feature? Right? You got to know these things, because that's how you make an informed and educated decision as to whether or not this is even an opportunity worth pursuing. So let me stress it again. If the audience does not match your target market, don't bother. Okay?
Love it.
Okay,
Very
so
true.
then the next thing is you got to know who are you pitching when you send out these media pitches or speaker pitches to media or event coordinators or speaking bureaus, right? There is a formula to it. You got to know how to do it. And you also got to make sure that you're actually pitching the right source. So don't assume that somebody who works there is going to, send it off to the right producer or whatever. Not going to happen, okay? You have one shot. These people in the media and speaking bureaus, they have a lot on their plate. They are inundated and they've got to make deadlines quickly and decisions quickly. So if you want to get in there, you better meet the needs, and you got to show up front how you're going to do that via your media pitch, your speaking pitch, and your press release. And there's a formula to it. And I really work heavy duty with my clients, showing them that formula and helping them devise a targeted media contact list, so they're not sending it to the wrong source and hoping that they're going to get on, because that's not going to happen, right? That's unrealistic. And another thing that I'm constantly faced with when people come to work with me is that their expectations are a little out of whack. So let me explain this, okay? So guys, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I am here to do my job and I want to give you useful information. So PS, media and speaking opportunities like event planners, bureaus, they are not closers. They don't provide you leads. So they're not going to give you sales. What they give you is an opportunity to relay your message to their audience, which is supposed to match your target market, your demographics, and your psychographics. So you got to know your clients inside and out and make sure that you're marrying and matching. Once you get that opportunity, you need a call to action to get people in the fold. Now, it doesn't matter what the audience size is. The reality is you're not going to get every one of those people as your clients, because that's just not going to happen. It's the same as if you go to a networking event. Is everybody there going to be your client? No. Some people are going to be maybe referral sources or joint venture partners. But what you want to do is make sure that you use these media and speaking opportunities for exactly what they are. Getting your message to the right audience and getting those people in your fold so you can later close them as clients. Now, how do you do that? Well, first you got to connect with them, which is why it's so important to have that message and those nonverbal cues, which is basically your presentation and performance skills down. The next thing is to get them in the fold. So you want to have a good call to action, and you don't want to be selling, because you have to remember that these people are just getting the first taste of you. You got to be relationship building. You can't move to the sale right away because they don't even know you yet. They're just getting a glimpse of you, possibly for 3 to 7 minutes or less. And you could be sharing the stage or the show with several other people who are booked for the day. And you can't assume that in that hour time slot, everybody who's tuning in is tuning in just to watch you. That's not reality, because they could be tuning in to watch, or perhaps coming to an event to listen to a different speaker.
Right.
And maybe they're sticking around to watch you, and maybe they're not, right? So it's unrealistic to assume that you're going to get tons of leads off a huge audience, because it's really dependent on who's watching and if they're interested in you or not. It's just that simple. But to get them in the fold, and your goal is to get the qualified ones in the fold, not everybody in the fold.
Sure.
Get that strong call to action, which is usually like a free giveaway, or somehow that they can get in touch with you without a huge commitment. Okay, without a huge commitment. So do you have a Facebook group they can get on? Do you have a mailing list that they can get on? Do you want to give some kind of giveaway, which I coach people on how to give giveaways too. The right kind of giveaways that attract the right people, not the people who are just looking for something for free, because that's not going to work in terms of closing into a client. We want to get them in the fold. We want to work them up that fold because it's relationship building, right? So we're working them up from a low to no cost, preferably no cost commitment, but get them in the fold. And then once you have them in the fold, you have permission to market to them so you can upsell them eventually into working with you, buying a service, buying a product, whatever. But if you go on a show or you take a speaking gig and you assume that you're going to close clients right away, or that everybody in the audience is going to convert to your clients, you are going to be sadly disappointed.
Yes. Absolutely. I agree. And it's so important that we were talking about this actually this morning. I want to make some connections because we were talking about the 5 different stages that it takes in marketing to close a deal. You guys, what is she telling you how to do and how to do brilliantly right here? Which of the 5 stages is it? Just focusing on, let's see if we can get an answer coming in here. It's visibility, right? She's teaching you how to get visibility around your business, how to get people seeing what you're doing, how to get them engaging with you, get in front of those new audiences. But we have to use this as part of our overall strategy. And I love what you said about you need to go in with the right expectations, because if you go in understanding that this is going to create visibility, and then you have an overall strategy of, like you were talking about, getting them to opt in through, the gift or the giveaway, that's going to take the ones that are interested and bring them in so that then you can continue to build those relationships. I love it. We have just a couple minutes left here, and I want to get questions. Okay, so far,
can you read it to me, Sorry, because I'm kind of blind at the moment.
Yes. So mostly what we've gotten so far is just things like brilliant, great stuff, outstanding insights. But I do want to give you all a chance to ask, do you have any questions about the media for Janette that you'd like her to answer for you in our last couple minutes here? Go ahead and type those in. Yes, we are going to give you, we're going to put in a link here. They want to know how they can connect with you. And Vivian, you are also in Canada too, right? You and Janette, I think, are both Canadians. So maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Yeah, she is. Okay, I thought so.
Hello, fellow Canadian. I don't know what part you're in. I'm in Ontario. So
she's Toronto. So
okay, great. So we're both in Toronto. That's great.
Yeah.
So if there's no other questions, can I just throw in a few other points?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So get clear on your intentions. That's also really important, because when you have an agenda or an intention, I'm just looking to sell, or I'm just looking to see what this media is going to get me, or this speaking opportunity is going to get me. That is all about you. And it's not a good intention. You need to play win-win. Okay. Yes. So they want to see the media and the speaking book, the people who book, event planners, speaking bureaus. They want to see what you're going to bring to the table as well, like what your following is like. How much promotion are you willing to give? You got to be a team player. It's not all about what they can do for you. You got to have something that you can do for them too. And in being realistic, don't think that you're getting on Oprah the first time you want to have media, or Good Morning America, or even, I don't know, there's other shows that are more like regional shows. I think there's like Good Morning LA. In Toronto, we have like Breakfast Television, or these sort of regional shows. Media works in steps and stages, and so does your speaking. So you need to build a portfolio. So that means you got to start local. And once, and be able to share that. And so that's exactly why I said in my process with my brand showcase package, I don't just train you, I put you on the show, because now you have a show reel, a demo reel, so you can start building, right? Otherwise, what's the point? Who's going to see it, right?
Right.
And so, okay, so you need to build realistically. It starts local. Then when you get your feet wet a little bit on some local exposure or some local speaking, then you move up to regional, then you go national, then you go international. So there is sort of a building block there. You also, want to be able to take the skills of being media trained and, work it on your social media. So use those skills, not just for media and stage, but making better videos and making better lives, because it all meshes and works together. right? And
Absolutely.
also media can see you. They can go to your social media pages. They can check you out. They can see what you're like on camera from your own posts, even from your blog, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're going to see that. And they're also going to see, what is your following like? What kind of things are you posting, right? So they'll look at that. And if they're on the
Mm-hmm.
search for something like that, that can increase your chances significantly of getting that booking for that speaking gig or that media gig. And it can also work against you. You have to
Yeah.
be mindful of that, right? It can
Absolutely.
work
Okay,
either
we
way.
did have a question come
Oh,
in,
great,
which
great.
is from D. How far in advance do you pitch the media?
Well, at least 3 to 6 months, because that's another big problem that I see happen with small business people. They wait too long to get media or speaking around a launch that they're going to
Mm-hmm.
have, or an event or whatever. They wait too long and they think, well, the event's like a week or two away, or maybe even 3 weeks. I should be able to get something. No, you can't do that. You have to be able to plan ahead, because the media plans ahead. They have a certain sort of schedule and rhythm around the whole year. Like, September, back to business, back to school. April, tax season. You need to know how that all works, and then plan accordingly around that, and also to see, how does your launch fit in with these themes, right? Getting
Mm-hmm.
back to what I said initially about your message. So these are also things that I work with clients on, because often this is another miss the mark.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Not
Janette,
enough
we
lead
so
time.
appreciate you being here with us today. Time
Thank
flies
you.
when you're giving out great information.
Thank you.
We did drop in your link for how they can get in touch with you, and we're going to
Okay.
drop that back in again. And then a little bit later this afternoon, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can actually get a free strategy session with Janette to talk through your media plan. So I'll share that with you a little bit. It's
Okay, and the freemium is I run these complimentary group chats,
uh-huh.
usually on Wednesdays. There is a link to register, and I
Yep.
will tell you the 3 things you absolutely need to have in place to become a sought after speaker on world stages or media guest. So I invite you to that as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity,
Awesome.
Amy, and thank you for coordinating this event and inviting me to participate. Thank you all for listening. I'd love to hear from you. You'll get my contact info, and hopefully I'll see you guys later. I'm shooting today, so I'm going to be in and out, but I
Yes.
hope to be on by 5. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
All right. Thanks so much, Janette. We are going to end this session and start our next session with Adrienne talking about LinkedIn strategy. So I will see you right back here in a second.